Hey everyone, Anderson here, coming at you again with another video. This week I had the opportunity to shoutcast the Friday Night Fight Titans North American Championship between the 29th ID CP1 and Task Force 121. For those of you that are curious, Friday Night Fight Titans is a fast-paced 7 vs 7 multiplayer event put on by the Friday Night Fight staff in Arma 3. Alright, well enough of me talking at this blank screen, let's get down and check out the action. So Nelson, you're going to co-commentate for me today. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. It's a lovely Saturday afternoon here. And nice weather. Looking forward to keeping it in the 60s and 70s.
And good weather here as well. So we have 2 minutes for them to prep and plan, and then I'm assuming it's going to be another 2 minutes safe start for them to set up. So, Nelson, you're a member of the 29th, and specifically this 29th platoon that is going up against Task Force 121. Is this an exciting moment for you to see if your group's going to have what it takes to be the North American Titans?
Most definitely. I am looking forward to seeing what they can do tonight. I think we've got our ringers out. Corporal Bay, PFC Wells, Private Garcia, Corporal Pinto, First Lieutenant Nelson, Second Lieutenant Drake. Got some great tactical masterminds and then great PvP players as well. So we got a good mix. So I think it'll be fun.
Well, and this definitely requires a mix of tactics as well as PvP players. But one thing that I think I saw in the European event is a lot of it came down to who was able to get good shots on target and put those down effectively, getting those headshots and really circumventing that body armor.
Yes, most definitely. I think Corporal Bay, Corporal Pinto, and Private Garcia check those boxes definitely. I've got my money on them every time in 1v1s. So we'll see how it happens tonight with these small fire team tactics.
Well, and Corporal Bay is very violent. I know a lot of people fear seeing him. He went on a rampage last NA, last night rather, cleared a whole building by himself. So it'll be exciting to see what Task Force 121 brings to the table. Some good names on Task Force 121 as well. I suspect this will be a very, very good fight. The terrain here, we saw it in the EU event. It's very tight, not a lot of long fire angles, so we'll see how they work. But they can get these to these second story buildings that allow them to get some overwatch over that center, really try to lock that down.
I know for tactics on the 29th side, they're going to look to buddy pair up, which looks like they've done that already based on their starting locations. They're going to look to buddy up and work in those pairs, clearing sectors. So we'll see how that plays out and how they can work together in those buddy pairs.
Definitely. It looks like Task Force 121 is going to set up with 4 moving on their right, 3 on the left. And there they go as they step off. 40 mics out, and Task Force 121 is pumping right up the middle there, going for that terminal.
Looks like the lieutenant complement's going to follow up behind that smoke that Second Lieutenant Drake has put down.
121's going to get position around the terminal first. Some satchel charges thrown in. We're going to have first engagement with T5 Bay. Oh, and Bay is down. That's a heavy hitter for you all down.
Oof, we lost Kernshaw to a demo, and Private Garcia is downed.
121 definitely have the advantage at this point. 29th only have 2 men up and 1 man down, and they're going to trip that terminal as well. Not the best start, I would say, for CP1 in this matchup.
We are resilient. We take our knocks all the time. So we'll see how we come back in the later rounds.
Well, and that's something that we have found, that they could lose. Oh, I take that back. PFC Wells is up. So the 29th, 4 people up for the 29th. So it's not that bad of a deficit. Definitely workable.
I don't believe that 121 has lost anybody yet.
No, they have not. And Wells will go down to Colin. It's starting to steadily shift in 121's favor. Let's see what this complement of 329ers can do. And Pinto down to Matt. 121 definitely bringing their A game. They're wanting to win this one. And Second Lieutenant Drake will be the last one left. They were able to take out Porter and Pickles from 121.
Yeah, Second Lieutenant Drake's going to try to hold that angle, I think. I don't think he's going to be aggressive here. He knows that the rest of the team's going to be wiped. So I suppose we'll see him sit here for a little while and wait for them to make a move on him.
That'll be the big thing. So, two things he's going to have to take into consideration is his time limit as well as the 5 points that Op4 already have. If they get to 10, that will be a round over. So he is a little crunched for time. And a well-placed frag grenade is going to hit him hard. Drake is going to make a push in for the terminal, getting some cover.
121 is not looking at the objective.
I believe Corporal Cole is. Corporal Cole is the man behind.
So now he's going to have him come back.
But Drake's going to trip it. He's going to push Cole. That turns it back into his favor. Now that gives him some room to work and really go and play for picks here. If he plays it smart and is not too aggressive, he might be able to turn this up. We've seen players come back from deficits like this, and we've seen players take on 5 guys and come out on top. So let's see if Drake has what it takes. Oh, and he will go down to Cole in a trade.
Trade there.
That is round 1. 1-2-1. We'll take round 1.
So we'll see how we do pushing on to the second round.
We definitely will, and we'll push out. They're going to slot up and swap sides here. 1-2-1 definitely brought their A game, but whoever wins round 1 doesn't necessarily tell the tale here. It's really what you see from your opponent and how you can turn that against them. The big thing with the Titans event here is getting quick, efficient rounds on target. You can be a strategical mastermind, a tactical mastermind.
How are you doing this evening, Anderson?
But you have to get rounds on target. I'm doing just fine and dandy. I've been looking forward to this all day, really getting to see these 2 top teams come up together. I'm excited to see who is going to stand out on top and go against our EU Titan. That will be decided on the 16th. Yes, I know it's not Tuesday, but you know what? We're going to roll it anyway. This is Friday Night Fighting Titans on a Saturday. So the label is Tuesday. The event is Friday Night Fight, and really we're doing it on a Saturday, so we're all kinds of confused here. This is CP1 of the 29th ID taking on Task Force 121 to determine the NA Titan. It is Tuesday. We're going to roll it back a little bit. If it's Tuesday, it's closer to Friday. Isn't that right, Dingo? So, Nelson, we just saw the 29th lose round 1. What do you think is going through their minds right now?
Well, we've taken tough losses before out the gate. I think what's going through their mind is we need to stay calm. We need to focus on, get back to our basics there, not overextend, not be too aggressive, and to buddy up. I think the breakdown there was that we took fire and our buddy pairs were not able to react as a team.
And if you're 1-2-1, you've just come off of this initial win, and so you're feeling good about yourself. Morale is going to be high. What's going to be real key here is not letting that go to their heads and just kind of staying down, playing tactical, and watching those fire angles to try to come out on top. Both teams in this are very competent. This definitely could go anyone's game. This could be anyone's game.
I definitely agree. I'd like to obviously see our guys bounce back, but I know 1-2-1 is a formidable force. I have FNF been killed by them many, many times.
Yes.
Major Collins specifically.
It is 1-0.
Always come out of the spectator box and see him on the other end.
Task Force 1-2-1. Well, and I think going into this Titans event, 1-2-1 might have been a little bit of a name that wouldn't be considered to come out on top. I know they come from a PvE background and are relatively newer to FNF compared to the 29th ID, but their improvement as PvP players, I think, show coming into this kind of event. But it's really hard to gauge what players do in Friday Night Fight coming into this type of scenario because it's very different engagements. It's a lot more of the individual player of how the shooter is. On Friday nights, it's tactics rule the day. You could have a team of halfway decent shooters, but if you have superior tactics and get better position, you can really come out on top. Whereas in this, there's really not a lot of ways to get those superior positions in those flanks, so it really comes down to individual play.
No, that's totally a valid point. I can attest to that. It doesn't always come down to the shooters in FNF. It comes down to the tactics. You could put a lot of good shooters in a barrel and they'll get shot just like everybody else.
And that's true. And talking about Major Colin, you mentioned earlier, I know last night he got himself trapped on a hill as Blue 4 Command. I think it was NA round 2. And he did somehow manage to survive. He had about a squad from a M113 dismount on top of him. He had some support from around him, but it was impressive to walk up on him and him still be alive. Might have had some trauma from that, though. He seemed pretty frightened, but nonetheless, he was there and ready to take command of his company again.
I know the 29th is coming off of some great rounds last night at FNF. I think we carried the day in both rounds 1 and 2 with some great fights. And then round 3, we were not able to carry the day. But I know our guys are kind of buzzing off of that still. We had a good 15-man strong force out. So looking to keep that up moving forward.
Yeah, I believe the second had 17 going into round 1. It was good fights for us as well. And it's nice to come off of Friday night and come right into this because you're warm in Arma. You're not having to worry about getting warmed up beforehand. You already have that PvP experience. I know when I'm going into Fridays and I don't have that PvP experience, I'm a little bit rusty when I'm running round 1. How's everybody doing in the chat? This is Friday Night Fight Titans.
A substitution here for Op4. I believe PFC Sholand is in now in lieu of somebody.
Yeah, PFC Sholand was not in on the first round. That was a substitution. I'm not sure who has been brought in.
It was Kernshaw there. Kernshaw was subbed out for PFC Sholand for this round. So we'll see how that affects the team. Sholand is a great guy to work with, a great battle buddy. He's going to roll with you no matter what. He'll watch your back. He'll keep your angles for you. It looks like he's going to go out there with Corporal Bay.
Now, I'm not as familiar with Kernshaw as I am Sholand. I know Sholand is a really solid player, and I think putting him as a team with Bay is going to be pretty formidable. Skill-wise in the PvP kind of rifle on rifle, who do you think would be superior, Sholand or Kernshaw?
Sholand has the advantage here. I think he's been with the unit for a long time. Sholand's one of our veterans. He's been around for about 4 years, which is up there in as far as CP1 goes. Kernshaw's relatively new, but definitely a fighter. Kernshaw's good at keeping those angles, finding them, and getting the jump on you when you're not expecting it. But Sholand will just beat you in a heads up most days of the week.
Well, and I think a lot of the gameplay here is determined by heads up situations. Dingo, I'm not going to make that bet because I don't want to take the chance of having to sing for an entire Friday night. I don't want to look like a fool.
So now I missed last week. Are we playing all rounds on this map, or are they going to switch it up after this next round?
This is a best of 5. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to switch the map up or not. I would assume not. I think we'll play all 5 on this same map. They are stepping off again. It looks like another similar step off here. 1-2-1 with 4 on one side, 3 on the other. First engagement as Garcia takes fire. No deaths as of yet. 1-2-1's marksman, Private Ryan, is engaging Second Lieutenant Drake. It looks like 1-2-1 is going to make the terminal again for the first time. 29th is being a little bit more defensive here. Let's see how that pays off. No casualties as of yet as Pickles is putting fire out.
We have a bit of friendly fire here, I think.
Yeah, we do. That might be devastating. That's going to allow the 29th some opportunities to move up and get into position while they figure that out. 1-2-1 is continuing to solidify that position. And Pickles goes down to a satchel charge. Drake against Corporal Cole, taking Corporal Cole out, but he's going to need a double tap. Wells down to Yang, so we have a trade-off right now. 1 29th dead, 2 1-2-1 are wounded. Let's see how this changes the situation. Pinto versus Matt, and that will go down to a trade. And Garcia will come out on top. This is starting to quickly turn into 29th's favor. Oh, friendly
Pinto's
fire. Pinto and Garcia. No, that's double tap. My fault.
He's got Pinto back up. Private Ryan back there with the sniper.
Sholen just goes down to Yang.
And Corporal Bay reacting to that, but going into the wrong house, I think.
The 1-2-1 has one man by the terminal. They have a marksman in the back with Overwatch. 29th have the numbers advantage. Let's see how this changes up. I think Bay knows where Yang is. Let's see if he makes a play on him. And there it is. Let's see. And Bay will come out on top. Drake drawing Ryan's attention. All the 29th have to do now is trip that terminal, and they are going to have a major advantage in this round. And that is what Bay is going to do.
I'd say the second lieutenant's calling to stick with your buddy pairs. So Bay's going to go rendezvous with him, and Pinto and Garcia should work that right side. But it looks like that's not happening there, and Garcia's going to go off on his own.
No,
see how that pays off for him.
Let's see. This is something they have to watch out for. If they're too aggressive here, they might just start losing piecemeal. And that individual has a marksman rifle. It's a high-powered rifle, and that is going to circumvent that body armor a lot better than your normal 5.56 and 5.45 rounds. And Drake goes down as well. They have to play defensively here, or Ryan could feasibly turn this to a 1-2-1 victory. But Bay
heads up against the marksman. Wow.
Bay's superior firepower in a one-on-one comes out on top. That was a far closer round than it could have been there. A little scary for the 29th, I think.
Definitely, it showed our weaknesses there. We're getting picked off early, I think, and not trading enough.
I think so far in these matchups, 1-2-1 is doing a superior job at gaining Overwatch on these terminals. And they're also able to get to the terminal and trip that first, which really puts the initiative in their favor because they're gaining those points. Now, the 29th are doing a good job at keeping together, trying to work with their buddy teams to maintain kind of angles of fire and things along those lines, which really came out on top in this past round. But I feel like they got a little too aggressive there, and it might have been because they were worried about time that it almost cost them in that last round.
Well, I think the 29th did what they needed to do that round. They got that win, even though it was a little dirty, and hopefully that'll get their morale back up and roll into this third round high.
Well, and that's a big thing here. The 29th's morale is up, and I think if 1-2-1 doesn't let that be a detriment to their morale, they might be back in their game faces, and we might see another instance of how they were in round one. I appreciate you being my co-commentator today, Nilson. I know you're rooting for the 29th through and through, and I'm sure you don't enjoy it when I am trying to analyze both sides and give them both their due diligence. I respect you wanting your team to win, though.
No, you please do. We need a 1-2-1 perspective on this, and I'm happy to provide the 29th. I just can't give their side of it for 1-2-1. That is.
So we're going to see another side swap here. 1-2-1 is back on Op4. The 29th is on Blue 4. An interesting thing about this arena, Nilson, is the approach for Op4 is a lot more open than it is for Blue 4. And arguably, it might be even easier for Op4 to get to that terminal first, simply because they just take off from their start. Whereas Blue will have to traverse through the shanty town and the shacks to get there. And I think that could play into 1-2-1 strategy here and really allow them to trip that terminal quickly and start gaining those points, making it harder for the 29th.
Now, do you know the tick rate on that terminal?
I'm not sure the exact tick rate on the terminal, unfortunately. It's Yeah, I wouldn't even guess. It might be something I can look at in this round and see what's going on. But it is a major factor. I know by the end of that round, before Bay had tripped that terminal, 121 had 7 points in their favor.
So it looks like Wells has picked up the marksman rifle. Let's see what he can do with that. I know he's been training with it a lot in our drills. So hopefully he'll be able to get some Overwatch like 121 has with that advanced movement, or enhanced movement rather, to get up onto those rooftops and provide some sort of situational awareness for the guys pushing forward.
When it looks like he's going to take that far flank and get those long fire angles, looks like 121 might be changing their strategy up a bit. No, they're prepping. They're going to be, looks like they're going to push it right up the gut again with a couple guys on the flank. Let's see how it plays out. We're less than a minute until the live. Both of these teams are excellent teams, and they are showing it here. They are getting into these close CQC fights, fighting it out. Round 1 was a 1-2-1 victory. Round 2, 29th ID victory. This is a best of 5 matchup. Yes, Nilsson is streaming as well. And they are off.
Early
1-2-1
GLs out there from 2LT. Near op 4, but not near enough.
They're going to be a little far away. Once again, 1-2-1 is going to push well ahead, and they are going to get that terminal first. Private Ryan, as their marksman, is doing an excellent job keeping the 29th at bay as Colin's able to get in there and trip that terminal. 29th
Wells is up on that rooftop, providing some overwatch there for the bulk of the 29th forces on the left-hand side.
Well, the bulk of 1-2-1 is on that 29th's left-hand side, and they do not have many on the right. So the 29th might be able to push forward and kind of roll up this side that 1-2-1 has. I believe Corporal Cole is the only one forward, with Private Ryan able to provide support. Oh, that's devastating. 2 men down for the 29th to a satchel charge. That's
Looks like
not...
Corporal Bay's taking a bit farther back as well.
And that's not what you want to see with 2 guys going down there to that satchel charge. That throws the advantage right in 1-2-1's favor. But they're both up, so that's fortunate for the 29th. You have First Lieutenant Nelson and Second Lieutenant Drake that are moving in on Corporal Cole. Let's see if they can root him out.
I'm not sure they know he's there, but they definitely should know now that 2LT Drake is down.
And Nelson goes down, but Cole is taken with him. Now that building, both those buildings collapse on top of them. That might be the end of both of those players for this. Let's see if they wake up. 1-2-1 is definitely in the advantage, though. There you have, and both of them are awake. And Nilsson goes down to Pickles. Garcia and Yang there on the side flank. Garcia is pinched, though, between Matt and Yang. Wells comes in, taking out Yang. Matt's going to push, maybe.
Looks like Wells is going to push him.
But he needs to check his corners. Not checking his corners, that was costly. Cole's going to push Nelson from the back and will more than likely get him if he looks. And that is 1 versus 6. 1 versus 5. It's doable, but with 7 points for Op 4, it might be next to near impossible.
Now, if 1-2-1 keeps pushing in piecemeal here, I think Sholin can win the day.
Potentially, but 1-2-1 have 4 men up, 5 men up. Matt's going to wake up. The no double tap, but they don't see each other. Oh, very close. What I was saying is 1-2-1 have 8 points. So even pushing in piecemeal, Sholin is against the clock here to make something happen, and he's wounded and limping.
I think Cullen just got a grenade out there to Corporal Cole, so maybe missed PID.
Sholin patching up. He might see Cole, and Cole is down. 1-2-1's at 9 points. Sholin's going to have to push here. I don't think with his injuries he's going to be able to get that, though, especially with Colin and Porter watching that terminal. And that will be round over as 1-2-1 gets 10 points. That was a good effort from Sholin trying to turn that around, but the points were just in 1-2-1's favor.
So that was round 3. 29th loss there, so we're 2-1 in favor of 1-2-1. Let's see what they can do to come back here. I think 29th has to adjust their strategy a bit. 1-2-1 seems to beat them to the mark every single time to the terminal.
They definitely are, and that's kicking the initiative in their favor and making the 29th have to play more aggressively than I think they're wanting to. One thing that we're seeing is those 40 mics go off at the beginning, but they're not terribly effective, and so they're losing that rifle on their initial push. So that's definitely going to have to be a change for the 29th is how are they going to stop 1-2-1 from getting to that terminal, or at least meet them at that terminal and make it a little bit harder for them to get, because they're getting to that terminal with little to no resistance.
Now, each year, or every year and a half, 2 years, the 29th puts on this thing called CBOTs, which is the battle of the squads. So each squad will go up against all the other ones. And this is short rounds like this, 10 people normally, 10v10s, fighting over a sector. And so we have a lot of experience with this close quarters, fire team versus fire team type fighting. But we're a little rusty. The last CBOTs was a couple months ago.
Well, let's see if they can turn it around with the side switch. It looks like Kearnshaw will sub back in for Sholand. Let's see if that's going to make the difference. Now, I do think that Op4 have a slight advantage on this arena. And if the 29th can make use of it, then they could turn the round in their favor. But I do believe that they are going to have to do something about 1-2-1 being able to get to that terminal unabated, or else they might be looking at defeat here. This is the round that could either determine the 29th's fate or push us to a round 5. I think 1-2-1 right now is realizing that they have a solid strategy going on that the 29th haven't realized how to circumvent, and they're going to keep doing that. I think the loss has got them into calmer heads, probably not overthinking things, probably not too overzealous. So they're playing pretty on par. What do you think's going through the 29th's mind?
I think same thing's going through as round 1. They're trying to stay calm. They're trying to play with their buddies. Looks like they're buddying up again. And they're just going to... It looks like they're going to do the same thing with 2LT Drake hanging back, trying to launch those grenades, and then 2 or 3 buddy pairs going forward, 1 down the middle and 1 on the right and left, respectively.
Well, it looks like they're adjusting a little bit. They might be prepping for 4 in the middle between their 2 buddy teams, and then that buddy team on the right. Let's see how this changeup works on it. No, Dingo, I'm not saying they're going to win it easily. I think Op4 has a slight advantage. But 1-2-1 definitely have a proven strategy in this fight.
Back in on the AR. Corporal Bay has been doing that, but Bay's back to medic. So we'll see how that changes. It looks like 29th has been changing up the roster pretty much every round.
I think they're still trying to settle into what is that best layout there to get them the advantage on top. I'm not going to lie. Coming into this, I wasn't expecting such a close fight. I was thinking it was going to be a good fight, but, I had based upon my experiences with the 29th, I figured the 29th would be slipping away and pulling away at this point. So 1-2-1 coming out like this is a pleasant surprise.
Well, one thing we always like in the 29th is a good fight, even if we lose.
Well, both teams are off. 1-2-1 is taking the same strategy, and they are flipping 40 mics. But the 29th is pressing the center hard. Let's see if that's going to change. Nelson engaging, not sure who.
I think it was Staff Sergeant Pickles there. Pickles with a great grenade into Wells' position. A little short, though.
And they're fragging the terminal now. I think this is the 29th's best push to the terminal yet in this matchup. Let's see what changes. Ooh, Demo takes down, but no casualty.
Now, 1-2-1 has been utilizing those demo blocks a lot, so we'll see how that works as
well,
pushes onto this terminal.
Yep, they will trip it into Blue 4 favor. But I believe Pickles just went down to Kearnshaw. That is going to change it up a little bit, but definitely doable from 1-2-1 as Yang is getting the flank. But Bay sees him, takes him down.
So like 29th has a command of this right flank. Hopefully they can push out Cullen and Matt.
Oh, Bay is engaging Porter from under the house, and he'll knock down Porter. Both teams are in favorable positions here. I still think this 1-2-1 could pull this out, but 29th is commanding the field on kills, even though 1-2-1 has a terminal. Nelson will take out Colin. Cole taking Nelson's building. I believe T5 Bay T5 Bay is up, but they have lost Pinto, and Wells is down as well. Nelson is going to have to encounter Cole here. Kershaw is going to trip that terminal. And that's what the 29th need. Oh, excellent demo as Cole's body goes flying up, and away, heading to the stratosphere. And that will be 29th round. That was excellently played by the 29th. The best round that they have played so far. They might have found their formation to get this turned in their favor. We're going to go to a round 5. This is the final round. It is going to determine the NA Titan for Friday Night Fights. I like seeing these matchups. go to the third round, and just shows just how bad both of these teams want the win. Yes, Dingo, it is first to 5. It is
most definitely. It looks like we're going to get a scene change here. It's going to be
flipped over to 5. I thought it was best of 5.
That plays into this round.
I know the EU rounds were best of 5, unless they have changed this and we are doing something a little bit differently.
Now, the EU event is coming up this week on Tuesday. Is that correct?
It is, the 16th will be the EU event. And I know the 29th have a team in that as well from CP2. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. There are friends across the pond here. And they've got a pretty formidable team. Got all their shooters packed in there. So we'll see how they do.
I know they suffered a hard defeat in their first matchup, but they came back and really showed that they weren't taking that lightly. So I know they're sitting down in the losers bracket, but that still gives them a chance at the end of it all to come out on top and prove to be the EU winner. It would be interesting to see a 29th versus 29th Titans event.
Oh, that would be excellent. If Titans comes back to be a yearly thing, I think that'll be our goal, definitely next time around.
But this is 2-2, 2 to the 29th, 2 to 1-2-1. And this is going into the 5th round here. So let's see who comes out on top. I have commentators curious who would win a 29th versus 29th Titans event.
Well, I'm a little biased in that one, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say CP1. However, I know CP2 has some fire in their belly as well.
So we're going to see a change up in this round. We are going darker with some ambient lighting. Let's see how this changes the complexion of the fight. Yes, Dingo, Scandi is still in that EU round, but they've had some
into these maps.
very, very close rounds.
The fluorescent lighting
I believe they didn't have their A team. Actually, that is true. That is very true. I don't think they had their A team at the EU event last week. So that might change. No, I'm still here. No, I agree with you. There has been a lot of effort put into these maps. It's quite impressive what they've been able to accomplish with this.
So let's see if 29th keeps with the same strategy as last time. They are not on that Op4 side, which has that straight shot up to the terminal. So we'll see how that plays into it. However, they did win pretty solidly last time.
They definitely did. But they're switching sides, and both of these sides require a little differences in the placement that could decide. And 1-2-1 is prepping for a solid 5-man push up the middle there. They're going to want to command that right flank of theirs, the flank that 29th looked like they're sending 2 on.
Now it looks like they switched up again, and Corporal Bay is back to the AR, and PFC Kearnshaw will be holding down the medic slot.
One is going to try to get to that terminal and get commanding defensive positions around it. That way, they're going to force the 29th to move more aggressively and have a higher chance at making mistakes. And both teams are setting off, and their 1-2-1 goes. They are just hauling ass right down the middle, trying to trip that terminal quick. 29th pushing as well, but 1-2-1 is definitely going to hit that. Oh, no, initial shots. Colin is down. Excellent fire. Whoever that was, I believe that was Bay.
Corporal Bay, yep.
Pickles will be in to trip that terminal, though, but that is a quick pick for Blue 4. That's plays that they need if they're going to come out on top in this round. It's like 3 on 4 on the 1-2-1's right, 2 on 3 on 1-2-1's left. Is PFC Wells still a marksman?
Yes. Looks like he's hanging back, though. I'm not sure how good of a sightline he's got there, but...
Oh, Bay goes down to Porter. That's an important shooter that's now down. Demo on the flank here. The left flank of 29th right at 1-2-1. No casualties, though. Oh, devastating satchel charge. 2 from the 29th dead and Pickles wounded. That is not what they wanted to see at all.
No, that's not. I think the satchel charges on the whole for this whole matchup have been the deciding factor. We've seen them used pretty much every round and to devastating effect.
Excellent frag by Pinto. Will take out Pickles. It is a 5-4 advantage here. And 1-2-1 controls that terminal. Porter will take Nelson.
First Lieutenant.
Crenshaw is in trouble as well. Now, 1-2-1 does not look like they have clear sight lines on that terminal. They do not. I don't think anyone's going to realize it, though. Wells takes on Matt.
Let's see if either Crenshaw or Pinto can get into that terminal and trip it and force 1-2-1 to come to them.
29 still have time. 1-2-1 only has 7 points on the board, and I think 1-2-1 knows that. They're trying to make the 29th get antsy. And 1-2-1's now taking the flank of that terminal with Yang and Matt moving there, and I believe Cole has taken up position on Overwatch. This is going to be tough. Kearnshaw makes a run for it, though, and he is in. That's going to turn the initiative over to the 29th.
I think Ryan has an angle on Wells. Maybe not. Wells is getting snuck up on, though. He's got Matt directly below him. I don't think they notice each other, though.
I don't think they notice either, but if Wells sees Yang, that's going to give his position away. Oh, excellent. LAT takes out Kearnshaw.
See if Pinto can react to that, though. He's got fire just to his left.
I think Wells realized he got a guy under him. 1-2-1, even though not controlling that terminal, does have a bit of an advantage. But Pinto will take out Matt.
There was a bit of friendly fire there between Corporal Cole and Matt, so that probably disoriented him.
Corporal Porter is getting Pinto's flank as Ryan is pushing that terminal. Wells not able to cover it, misses his shots, and he's in there. Pinto's going to respond, and Porter will have him. Pinto is down. Terminal's tripped back to 1-2-1.
Going to come down to just Wells with the marksman rifle.
Wells v. Yang, close quarters. He'll take Yang. Being shot in the back by Cole, and he is down. That is all 3 29thers down. Now, if their admin rule still applies, they have 30 seconds to wake up. I don't think it's going to happen in time for them to trip that terminal. I think this round goes to 1-2-1.
Definitely, I don't want to call it too early, but I think the injury sustained. Kearnshaw's been down for a while, so has Pinto. I don't think Wells will get back up. It was a solid fight from both teams. 1-2-1 took the day, though.
They definitely did. That blue 4 side was tough for both the teams, and honestly, neither one of them were able to pull out a victory for blue 4. Now it looks like might be slotting back up again. This might be a best of 5 matchup, Nielsen. This might not be the first of 5.
Maybe we had it all wrong.
We might have. That might not have been the deciding battle. That's pretty impressive here. They're all taking their slots again. I think it's going to be a first of 5 fight.
Well, this will definitely make it interesting and change up everything. So perhaps the 29th is going for trying out their styles and really settling in.
We will see. It's 3-2. I mean, it's still anyone's matchup. If we are doing this best of 5, it's anybody's matchup here. Nobody has a commanding lead at this point. And if these matches are following suit, then the 29th should take this op 4 round, leaving it 3 versus 3. I think the deciding thing here is going to be which team figures out how to play the blue 4 side first.
And I don't think anybody's got that nailed down yet. It's definitely a tough side working through all those little shacks and such, as op 4 has such a clear route straight in. And I think 121 really realized that last round where they had their guns on their back and just sprinted in, which I think gave them the win, took the initiative away from the 29th.
It definitely did. The first round in which 121 came out in force and pretty much took the day. They did something quite similar there. And as the teams continue to play on this map, I mean, they're getting to see these sides over and over and over again. They're getting used to the map. They know the satchel points. They know where people are going to be hanging out for the most part. I believe, in all honesty, I think Wells is the sniper on blue 4 has kept the same spot every time. And the same way for Yang as the marksman on op 4. He's kept the same spot as well. So I know I've asked you this a lot throughout this fight, but what do you think is going through the 29th's mind now? It's a best of 5, they're down 1, and they're on op 4, which they've taken both times they've played.
I think at this point they've realized that the strategy for op 4 is to get to that terminal first. So I think that's what they're going to be prioritizing. They're trying to stay calm. The series is what, 3-2 now, so they're not out of it yet.
I think 121 understands that they have a lead and they want to make that larger. It would be very, very prudent for them to come out of this round with a win, making it 4-2 and taking less heat off of them. I think the longer that they play and the more the teams get to see these maps, it's really going to come down to who adapts the best. And I don't think you want to take those chances in that situation. You really want to try to pull out on top. That way, if you do have a misstep or anything like that, it's not devastating for your play.
We will see. Looks like we've had another change up in our lineup. We've got Corporal Bay now filling the CE slot. 2 LT Drake with the AR and First Lieutenant Nelson in the team lead slot with that GL.
And I think Drake has been the GL man for the 29th all these rounds, so we'll see what First Lieutenant Nelson will be able to bring to the table with that 40 mic. That's something I've seen in all of these EU, or in between the EU and this NA match. They've started with the 40 mics being launched at the beginning, but to not much effect. For the most part, they're overshots, but we'll see if that changes up here. We might see some deadly hits right off the start.
I'm just admiring the coloring in the center of the map right here while we wait for the live.
Do you enjoy the FNF mood lighting?
It's something.
All right, 40 mics away. That was a good 40 mic. If he places it in the same spot, that is definitely going to dictate 121's movement as they push. 29th getting a little bit of a late jump, though. 121's going to be pushing. Wells engaging with Ryan and knocks him off of his perch. And Pickles and Kernshaw. Kernshaw not killing Pickles. What is going on in here?
They are in there together.
That was not what they wanted to have happen. That was a bit insane. How did Kernshaw miss those shots?
Not quite sure. I got in there real close. Looked like there was a lot of smoke. That pink coloring added to the confusion.
Well, the 29th is a man down, and 121 has the terminal. They have taken the advantage early on again. Let's see how that changes.
Now, it looks like PFC, Wells, and Corporal Bay have been playing the rear here, while 121 has pretty much everybody in a fighting line. So they're able to put down a lot more firepower than 29th is right now.
They definitely are. Looks like the 29th is playing for pickoffs. Pickles is down. We'll see if he wakes up. Private Ryan from 121 is dead. The odds are starting to turn back numerically, but 121 controls that terminal. 29th loses another man there. or Private Garcia, rather. Drake and Colin exchanging fire over the middle here. Porter and Wells in this back alleyway. Wells is wounded. Drake exchanging with Colin. Bay and Cole.
Wells were able to take out Porter there.
That's what the 29th...
Colin's still exchanging fire.
They are. They've been exchanging fire for pretty much this entire match. 29th is working on getting commanding ground of that terminal. Now, 121 does have observation, but the only opening is on the 29th side, which only Yang has coverage on. As Pinto pushes Yang, not knowing he's in there. Bay pushing the terminal, taking fire from Colin. Nelson taking out Colin. Excellent maneuver there. Still anyone's game. Bay has terminal. Wells moving off.
Looks like Matt's going to get Wells here. Doesn't decide to fire.
Colin waking up. But Wells turning quickly on him with the help from Drake. Pinto will take out Yang. Steadily shifting into 29's favor. I believe Nelson just friendly fired at Wells, who comes in on the flank of Matt, leaving Cole the only alive 121 member.
Looks like Nelson's going to get... Whoop.
Oh, and he will take it. Now, as long as the admin policy stays into effect, Pickles has 30, and Bay will get the double tap. I believe that is all of Blue 4. Round will go to the 29th.
Well, we're back to the 3v3.
That's definitely proved that this Op 4 side is coming out the victor. Whoever gets this Blue 4 side down first is probably going to win. I think let's see, 121 will go to Op 4 this round. Then if it goes this route, if the 29th cannot master the Blue 4 side, and it is Op 4 that takes all of these rounds, then 121 stands a solid chance at pulling victory, as they will have the last match as Op 4.
It's definitely true. Let's see what the 29th has figured out about this Blue 4 side fighting it. What are we at? This will be the 6th round now?
No, this will be the 7th round. We are 3-3. Neck and neck for both of these teams. Both of them came to play today, and they're both wanting it.
Looks like there's some discussion between who's going in for the 29th. Between 2LT and Sholand.
Ooh, Blue 4 is called ready with only 6 members. 5 members. I'm confused at what is going on.
There's the quick not ready return.
that would have been devastating going in there being short a man. Looks like they have their full allotment now. They're taking the hardest side on this terrain. I don't think they want to take it with a man down. Oh, they're trying to go a man up.
My fault.
You need to slide as a spectator, sir.
I was clicking too much. Overzealous clicking there.
This reminds me a lot of the days when I played Call of Duty 4, and I would take what they now call a nude tube on spawn and fire my 40 mic and kill about 6 of them, and then the next round be able to call an airstrike in and kill another 6 of them and just get this endless rotation of airstrikes.
Oh, that was you?
Quite often.
Looks like I'm still receiving data. I'm not sure if I got into a slot before they pushed.
I think if you, we are just now in. It just said Blue 4 was eliminated, though. That was a little strange.
I might have to restart my game here for a second.
Well, you do have the safe start to get in, so quickly as they come. Come on, come on. This is the FNF Titans 29th CP1 versus Task Force 121. It is a 3-3 tie currently, best of 5 round, and the winner of this matchup will be considered the NA Titan.
I might have to restart my computer. I'm not getting any feedback.
Oh, that is no good at all. The winner of this will be the NA Titan. They will go on to fight the EU Titan to determine who is the Titan of FNF. 1 minute to go until this round starts here. I might be going it alone coming into round 7. The 29th ID on Blue 4, 121 on Op 4. There goes my commentator out of the game. Let's see what happens here. Both of these teams have been fighting solid, hard fights throughout this entire matchup. Both teams have come to win, and I'm excited to see who comes out on top. Now, the Op 4 side has proven to be the superior side. All victories for both of these teams have come on Op 4. Blue 4 seems to be the trick. Let's see who masters that. Whoever masters the Blue 4 side does stand a chance at coming out on top here. Now, with Titans compared to normal FNF, this comes down to how quickly you can get shots on target and how effective those shots are. If you're shooting body armor, you stand no chance unless you're a marksman. 40 Mike going off from the start. 121 is taking charge right down the middle. Zasteezy, thanks for the follow. Pickles is going to maintain that push down the middle as he has been the whole matchup. 29th staying largely out of the middle as 3 are pushing that left-hand side. 121 will trip that terminal and get the early advantage once again, something we have seen on almost every single one of these rounds. No casualties as of yet. Small exchanges of fire. 4 versus 3 over here on the 29th's left, 121's right. Let's see what happens. Marksmen are exchanging fire here. Private Ryan will go down. 121 will lose their marksman cover. That marksman rifle is an excellent rifle. It will circumvent that body armor to some extent. Nelson versus Colin. Drake versus Pickles. As Pickles takes Drake. Garcia engaging Pickles. Unable to take him out. Drake is down. Colin goes down to T5 Bay. Pickles is wounded by the pair of Pinto Garcia. Satchel charge effectively takes out Garcia and Pinto as well as Pickles. We have even numbers on each side. 121 controls the terminal. We're getting to that stage of the round. Both teams are probing. Both teams are moving. 29th look like they have a superior force here on the flank, only dealing with Cole. 3 members of 121 on the other side, not knowing they have taken out the rest of the 29th.
Hey, wake up.
Wells taking fire from Cole. Believe I'm getting poked by my commentator here. I'll wait a second. Kershaw making a push for the terminal. He will get it. Bay taking out Cole. This is going to trip it back into 29th's favor. It is 4 versus 3 here. Matt's going to push for it. Kershaw does an excellent job closing the doors, but they do not have good sight. But Matt's going for Kershaw. He's out for blood. Pre-firing those corners. Kershaw and Matt. Who's going to take it? Matt will take down Kershaw. Very, very violent push there. And he's going to move into the terminal. Again, pre-firing with that automatic rifle. And he is going to take it. Wells with a frag grenade. It's going to be close. Let's see what happens. Does not take out Matt. Op 4 switches the terminal back to their side. It is 3 versus 2 here. 29th with an excellent frag by Wells. That might be it. Right on top of Matt. Does not kill him. And Matt will take out Wells. That is an unfortunate aspect of Arma as the frag grenade sunk into that cargo container. It is now 2 versus 2. 121 controls that terminal. Let's see who takes the victory. Matt is holding down that terminal container with his automatic rifle. Porter with Overwatch in the upstairs. Bay's going to be pushing in from the back. He's going to open the door behind Matt. Matt not paying attention. and he will go down. Bay is going to trip that terminal. Porter, the last 1-2-1 alive with the Overwatch. Let's see what happens. If the 29th is too antsy, Porter could turn this into a 1-2-1 victory. The 29th won this win. They want to turn that in to give them advantage. They have been behind from the start. This will put them in the lead for the first time of this match. There's no way to know that 1-2-1 only has one man alive. You know, you can count casualties as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you never know. Bay is looking at that closed door, relying on Nelson to watch his back. Let's see if this comes to advantage. He will. Porter opens the door, but does not run in. Nelson does not have Bay's back. Bay turning, and he will take him out. 29th take the win here. The first time the 29th has been on top in this matchup. That is the first win for Blue 4. This could turn this into a match victory for 29th in the long run. We are going to be going into round 8 of this matchup.
User was moved to your channel.
You missed a heck of a round, Nilsson.
Must be, I was the bad luck charm. Maybe I should leave again.
29th managed to come out on top there. It was a close fight for both of them. 1-2-1 took the terminal early, but the 29th were able to turn that back into their favor. It was a really close matchup the whole time.
So it looks like 29th figured out how to win on that Blue 4 side, and that was our win condition, really, that we had predetermined here. So we'll see if they're able to seal the deal here with this Op4 victory. Presumably. That's a little presumptuous, actually. I shouldn't say that. That's going to kill him. Damn.
You've jinxed your team here in your hopefulness for the win. This could be the turning point in the match for tonight. It is a 4-match to 3, or 4-round to 3, 29th's favor, and they're going into the side that holds the most wins. I think it's the most wins in the tournament so far. I think Op4 has been the side on this particular map that's been able to take the most wins.
Now, see, I don't think 29th, when they've been playing this round, they haven't really used the advantage of their side, though. So they haven't pushed fast up to the terminal as 1-2-1 has. And so while they do have that advantage, I'm not sure how much they use it.
That's true. We've seen a little bit of the usage. I think they managed to get to the terminal once before 1-2-1. I think just the layout of the Op4 side is a little easier to work with. I'll agree. The 29th fights, for the most part, from the Op4 perspective, have been very challenging. 1-2-1 is definitely keeping them on their toes, but 1-2-1 hasn't mastered this Blue 4 side either. We'll see who's really going to be the superior side here. If 1-2-1 can master Blue 4, then it's still anyone's game.
Be one hell of a night if that is the case.
It will be.
Either way it goes.
It will be. We will end up going to the maximum amount of rounds played.
So remind me of the scenario right now. We are 4-3, 29th up. Is that correct?
29th is up 4-3, and they are on the Op4 side. So right now, the 3 1-2-1 wins have been on Op4. The 3 of the 4 29th wins have been on Op4, and 1 win on the 29th on Blue 4. So right now, of 7 rounds, 6 losses has gone to the Blue 4 side. Statistically speaking, the 29th have the advantage, but 1-2-1 has been putting up a hell of a fight this matchup, and I really don't want to sell them short. They could really turn this into a tie and force us into a final round.
As somebody said in the chat, that would be epic, definitely. We'll see how it goes. I think the 29th really needs to settle down, take that win, but not take it too much, because they need to play like they're losing again.
Well, and 1-2-1 has proved that they are taking these losses and they are learning from it. They're not getting demoralized. Their morale's not down. They know what they have to do, and they have to win here, and that's something they're going to be looking at. This is the 29th's first time being on top in this entire matchup. We'll see if the 29th can keep it there.
Looks like the majority of 1-2-1 guys have their guns on the back, so they might be trying to sprint for the start or sprint to a better spot right off the gate. We'll see how that plays out.
We definitely will. With that openness of the terminal and the long sight lines for Op4, it might prove to hurt them in the long run, as they might get caught out in the open. We'll have to see. 121 is continuing to stay condensed with their forces as the 29th spread out. I think both have their advantages based upon the side. We'll see what changes. And the 29th is pushing here. It doesn't look like... Nope, there Drake is pushing off those 40 Mikes. Kearnshaw pushing up the middle, but 121 is getting the quicker jump, as we've seen in all of these rounds.
Ooh, that was something landed there near Private Ryan and Yang. An explosion went off there. Not sure what that was.
I believe that must have been 40 Mike. I now have my my tracers on. Kearnshaw might get taken out by this frag, but he opens that cargo container, giving him some extra security. Is that a satchel charge? That was a satchel charge. Pinto might go down here. No, it will not, but it will injure Pickles.
Backfired there, but they've been using it to their advantage.
They have been. I think that's the first ineffective satchel charge we've seen from 121 this entire night.
Nelson putting Cole under fire there. Little long-range engagement from the second stories. Cole cooking some sort of grenade.
Porter is moving in on the backside of Nelson. Nelson does not have any support up there. This might be detrimental. Colin trying to push out a flare round. That's going to be blinding in this darkness. They can't turn it into a casualty, though. No casualties so far. Oh, but Cole will go down to Kearnshaw.
Caught here. Nope. Yang didn't fire.
And Yang will take Bay and wound him.
So
Bay,
Cole and Bay down.
well, and Bay can still wake up, and so can Cole. But Kearnshaw is dead.
Neither side has flipped the terminal, though. Bay is back up.
And that is something the 29th need. Another 29er will go down to Specialist Matt, and Wells is now under fire here. It'll be Nelson and Porter in this alley. Nelson, excellent pick on Porter there. This is a close matchup. Heck of a fight.
In the meantime, Bay has gotten Yang, and it looks like 29th controls this side of the map.
No control for the terminal. 3 29th casualties. 3 dead on the 29th. 3 dead on 121. And 121 has 1 wounded, but he's been down for quite a long time. Pickles is going to make a move for that terminal, though. That might trip the initiative for 121. Let's see how the 29th respond. Oh, but Pickles will go down. Dual fire coming in from Bay and Nelson. They need to double tap, though. And they will. Nobody has angle on it. It is Colin up. Colin is the last man up from 121. Bay in the terminal here. He is going to trip it back to Blue 4. As I've said, we have seen players come back from this deficit. They only have a 4-man advantage, and Colin has an AR, which is capable of putting out a lot of fire. And the points are still very low. If Colin is patient, he could turn the tides here, but it is definitely not in his favor.
29th just needs to play smart, keep their comms up, keep talking. We don't need any friendly fire incidents. I know we've seen a couple of those tonight from both sides.
No friendly... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And this nighttime doesn't help with that at all.
No, it does not. And especially with the strange lighting, it could be quite confusing. And that's another thing they need to consider is not pushing piecemeal. If they push piecemeal, they could come out as a loss. But Colin might have been spotted by Garcia here. And Garcia will take Colin. Cole is down at the terminal. 30 seconds to wake up. Doubtful he will. This might be a 29th victory.
So if this win, 29th will, if they win here, the 29th will get 5, and that will seal the deal for the series.
As far as I'm aware, I think it is a best-of-5 matchup. Let's see what happens. If I see people leaving the server, I think we'll be clear to call it. Colin disconnects. That is it. The 29th ID CP1 appear to be your FNF NA Titans. Heck of a round, heck of a match from both sides.
That was a great series. I mean, the 121 just really pressed us, and they had the advantage all early on there, but I think the 29th came fighting back, learned from their mistakes, and were able to get that blue 4 victory, which I think we established was key.
Yeah, that was key. I mean, whoever was going to master that blue 4 side was going to come out on top. I love when these fights come down to this, when they're close, they're battling it out, and you never know who's going to win. There's not one true team on top. They make for some exciting rounds, and you really get to see the passion from these players as they don't want to lose. I mean, you got a little bit of bragging rights on the line here, and you want to come out on top. I'm going to see if I can't snag an interview with the two group leaders here and just get their takes on the matchup. So I got both of you here. That was a heck of a fight from the two of y'all. 1-2-1 was on top for the big portion of that battle, and at the end there, the 29th was able to come out on tops. I know I had got a little bit of thoughts from you, Colin. Do you care to expand on that? I mean, how are you feeling right now with those fights?
I feel like we didn't leave anything on the table. I feel good about it. I think we put up a good match and held our own, and happy to have played an evenly skilled match with a great unit. So it's we had a strat going in where we were just going to be aggressive. Our mindset was get to that point, put pressure on the other team, make them come to us, and basically try to win through fire superiority. It was working for a while. 29th did some excellent tactical things. Kind of forcing us to play a little bit cheeky on the defense where we couldn't stay in one spot or hold any angles because they were just maneuvering on us, and that worked well to their advantage.
Well, and that's something that we noticed was 1-2-1's aggressiveness. They were on that terminal first. They were able to trip it, and so it was really putting the initiative in their favor, forcing the 29th to make some plays. And your satchel throws were excellent this evening. You only had one botched satchel throw, and the rest of them were very devastating for the 29th. You were taking out two guys pretty consistently for them, and it looked like up until that last round, the 29th hadn't really gotten a play for that yet. So that was quite impressive to watch.
Yeah, that's going to be Pickles. He's our designated Canadian. We feed him nothing but Provident hard liquor and maple syrup, and he just likes to throw satchel charges. It's his thing, so works out well.
Well, and he was also the one tripping the terminal. Drake, I'm sure that you're feeling a high right now. Your group has come out on top. They are the FNF NA Titan. How do you all feel?
We feel very good, but we also feel very lucky because that was a very close, hard fight. You're absolutely right in calling some of the difficulties we had up front. We had difficulty in general on the blue side given the terrain. We feel like TF121 really figured out our tactic of rushing the round and forcing the enemy to react to them, and they did a very good job of doing that, especially as they played on op4. So it took us a few rounds to adjust to that. It seemed like as we did, we started eating satchel charges, so then we had to adjust to that. But we knew that as we moved on in the game, we had to pull out a blue round, and somehow we managed to get one, and it seemed to tip the balance finally in what was an otherwise extremely close fight.
Well, and that's something from the commentator's perspective that we did see was that the Op4 side appeared to have the advantage. So we were determining that whoever figured out how to crack the Blue 4 side was going to stand a chance because going status quo, 1-2-1 had a chance to pull that out with just Op4 wins. Let's see, there were a total of, I believe, 8 rounds played, and of those 8 rounds, 7 wins was on the Op4 side, while only 1 was on the Blue 4.
Yeah, we felt the same way. The op4 side, for whatever reason, call it equipment, call it terrain, it seemed to give a sizable advantage.
It's interesting that everybody felt the same way. So there really must be something to that map. But nevertheless, you find yourself in situations where things are imbalanced and you find yourself having to react. Today, we found ourselves reacting both to the map conditions as well as the opponent's changing tactics. Y'all did not keep it the same, right? You changed it up
No,
on us today. And so
we did. Yep.
that's really impressive to see. And I think in the end, keeping the fights as close as it was certainly gave us an adrenaline rush because nothing was for granted or for certain in any way, shape, or form. We never felt like we were comfortable in any way. In fact, I think at one point we were even behind. And I'm sure it also made for really good viewing and analysis for whoever might catch the top-down view.
It was definitely a joy to watch from the top-down view. You could definitely see the teams trying things differently, trying to come out on top. and very impressive. I can't say enough. It has been a joy to watch both of your communities fight. Gentlemen, I hope there is no hard feelings between you two. There definitely should not be. That was a heck of a matchup. Both of your communities should be proud of what you all have managed to accomplish. And I certainly hope that those who are viewing this will enjoy it as much as I have. Real quick before I let you all go, both of you all fought really hard. Colin? Who would you say would be the MVP for 1-2-1 in this match?
God, I'd have to give it to probably our designated Canadian for just being wily with the satchels and getting aggressive to the point. I think that's no question.
And Drake, who would you say is the 29th MVP of this match? Did I lose you?
There we go. In addition to his very well developed personal skills, his on the fly tactical calls and adjustment throughout each round, I would have to say Corporal Bay. But if I may just also add on a close second, PFC Kernshaw is extremely aggressive and hungry and always willing to force the terminal. And so he is a very close second, perhaps.
All right, excellent. Well, Colin, I'm going to take a second to talk to Drake. I really appreciate you coming down. I appreciate you all for fighting in FNF Titans. I appreciate being able to save you yesterday in NA Round 2, and I look forward to seeing you at the next FNF.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. 29th, we'll play with you guys anytime. Great match. Thank you.
We'll do it again.
Thanks, admin. Thanks, staff. Appreciate it. Take care.
You have a good one.
User left your channel.
So, Drake, we noticed a strategy from the 29th here. You all were doing various subs throughout the game. What was the strategy there, if you don't mind me asking?
You're talking about substitutions for slots or substitutions in personnel?
Well, you had a mix of slot substitutions, so you were bouncing those slots around between individuals, and you were also doing personnel substitutions. Did you feel that a particular person had a better situational awareness or tactical ability in a scenario compared to another?
Truth be told, with regard to personnel, we had every hope of keeping the team exactly the same as we did in the most of the matches we played before to get to this point. However, there are sometimes issues due to availability and or fluctuations in internet connection and technical issues. So that's really all that comes down to. With regard to the slotting, though, it's a very good question. In a scenario like this, sometimes it takes a little bit of adjustment to figure out matching the appropriate person's skill set with the particular weapon for the scenario. These are very closed in arena style situations. So for example, unless you know how to adapt the marksman role to that, you may not necessarily want to use it. Since we did have some substitutions in personnel, I think there was some people trying to figure out kind of the right match for them today. So then naturally there was a little bit of change. I think part of it also is just adjusting to the enemy because they kept changing it up on us today in several ways from whence we last fought them. And so I think trying to balance the personnel matching with the weapons was also in response to that.
Very well. So the 29th CP1 is now the victors for FNF NA. They are the NA Titans from all the communities that participated in the event. And we don't want to shy away from any of the communities that participated. We appreciate it all. So now the 29th CP1, they are looking to move on, and they will play the EU Titan, who is yet to be decided, for the title of FNF Titans. How do you think you all are going to prepare for that?
Well, all I can really say is the 29th ID continues its normal operations. We continue to drill individual skills as well as small unit tactics in every single squad, platoon, and company drill that we have. We're going to continue doing that. I am fully confident that my platoon is sharp and hungry and ready for any action, any time against any opponents, whatever and however the cards may fall. So we just look forward to seeing who that will be.
Excellent. And it does look like your sister platoon is putting up a good fight in the EU event. I know they're sitting in the losers bracket now, but they are steadily progressing. So that gives them an opportunity to maybe come out on top as the EU Titan as well. Is there any advice or anything you want to say for your sister platoon as they advance through the EU rounds on the 16th?
Two things. First of all, listen to whatever Corporal Bay tells you about his insights about the rounds. If you're hearing this and he tells you stuff, you should probably listen to it. The second thing is, adjust your game. CP2 plays a slower, more methodical game. This is a very fast-paced, very individual skill-based game, so they need to still find their footing in that. And so I would emphasize training combination of personal skills as well as the small unit tactics that make or break this kind of a round by 2 or 3 guys. That's all you really need to win it.
Well, there you have it. Second Lieutenant Drake, thank you for your time and congratulations on your win. That was well deserved. I'm excited to see the matchup between the 29th CP1 and the victor of the EU Titans event. You have a great night, Second Lieutenant.
Thank you, and you too.
User disconnected from your
Well,
channel.
PFC Nelson, that was a heck of a fight there. That was a lot of fun to watch, and I think both sides were pleased in their performance, and both sides should be pleased in your performance. Looks like Corporal Bay will be our MVP of the Titans Championship. Do you have any final thoughts? If you are talking, I cannot hear you. I hear you queuing up, but cannot hear you.
All right.
Oh,
My
there you
mic
go.
was muted. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to shoutcast with this. It's been a pleasure. 29th carried the day. It was definitely a tough fight on all rounds, and I'll be looking forward to watching the Tuesday, the 16th fights to root for our CP2.
Alrighty. Well, I am Anderson from the FNF staff. I had PFC Nilsson with me from the 29th ID. Thank you all for watching, and we will be back at it again, checking out the EU Titans event. And with luck, we will be casting the NA and EU Titans Championship match.